The timeline you provided highlights key milestones in the transmission of information throughout history. Starting in 3000 BC, the Sumerians developed one of the earliest writing systems known as cuneiform, which used pictures to represent words and ideas. This allowed for the recording and transmission of information through written language. Next is in 2900 BC, the Egyptians developed their own writing system known as hieroglyphics, which also used pictures to represent words and ideas. This allowed for the recording and transmission of information in Egypt. And the third one, around 1300 BC, the Chinese developed a writing system using tortoise shells and oracle bones, which were inscribed with pictographs representing words and ideas. This allowed also for the recording and transmission of information in ancient China. The fourth one, around 500 BC, the Egyptians developed a new material for writing called papyrus, which allowed for the creation of long rolls of written text. This enabled of recording and transmission of longer works of literature and other types of information. The fifth one, in 220 BC or AD, the Chinese developed a new writing system known as small seal script, which used more complex characters to represent words and ideas. This allowed for a greater range of ideas to be expressed through written language. Around 100 AD, the Romans began using parchment codexes, which were early book formats made from animal skins. This allowed for more information to be stored and transmitted in a compact, portable form. Next, the seventh one, around 105 AD, the Chinese invented woodblock printing in paper, which allowed for the creation of multiple copies of written text. This greatly increased the efficiency of information transmission. The eighth one, in 1455, Johannes Gutenberg invented the printing press using movable metal type. This allowed for the mass production of books and other printed materials, greatly increasing the accessibility of information to the general population. The ninth, in 1755, Samuel Johnson's dictionary standardized English spelling, which greatly increased the consistency and accuracy of written language in a book or some words that are written in the dictionary. The 10th, in 1802, the invention of the carbon arc lamp revolutionized lighting and enabled greater productivity in the transmission of information through improved visibility in work environments. Overall, these key milestones represent the evolution of the transmission of information, from early pictographic writing systems to the mass production of printed materials, and the standardization of written language. These developments have greatly impacted the way we communicate and learn, and have paved the way for the digital age and the even more rapid transmission of information we experience today.
1824, Research on Persistence of Vision published. In 1824, Peter Roget introduced the concept of how the brain sees individuals' images as a sequence of motion. Persistence of vision is the phenomenon of the eye by which an after image is thought to persist for approximately 1/25th of a second on the retina. It's worth noting that persistence of vision became more widely recognized and explored with the development of motion picture technology in the late 19th and early 20th centuries. 1830's first viable design for a digital computer, Augusta Ledyby, writes the world's first computer program. The English inventor Charles Babbage, however, is generally credited with having conceived the first automatic digital computer. During the 1830s, Babbage devised his so-called analytical engine, a mechanical device designed to combine basic arithmetic operations with decisions based on its own computation. A English mathematician, Ada Lovelace, the daughter of poet Lord Byron, has been called the first computer programmer for writing an algorithm for a computing machine. 1837 Invention of telegraph in Great Britain and United States. In 1837, the British inventors Sir William Fothergill Cooke and Sir Charles Wheatstone obtained a patent on a telegraph system that employed 6 wires and actuated 5 needle pointers attached to 5 galvanoscopes at the receiver. 1861 Motion pictures were projected onto a screen. The first public projection of motion pictures onto a screen occurred later in the late 1890s. The Lumière brothers, Auguste and Louis Lumière, who were French inventors and filmmakers, played a pivotal role in this development. They invented the cinematograph, a device capable of both capturing and projecting moving images. 1876 Dewey Decimal System was introduced. The Dewey Decimal Classification or DDC system is a general knowledge organization tool that is continuously received to keep pace with knowledge. The system was conceived by Melvin Dewey in 1873 and first published in 1876. The DDC is published by OCLC Online Computer Library Center. In 1877, Edward Muybridge demonstrated high-speed photography. In 1877, Edward Muybridge conducted a series of experiments at the University of Pennsylvania where he demonstrated high-speed photography using multiple cameras and a system of tripwires. His aim was to capture and analyze the motion of humans and animals. 1899 First magnetic recording were released. Danish engineer Valdemar Poulsen invented the telegraphone, a device capable of recording and producing sound using a magnetic wire in 1898. The telegraphone was the first device to use magnetic recording technology and was a significant breakthrough in the field of audio recording. 1902 Motion picture special effects were used. In 1902, Georges Méliès released his iconic film, A Trip to the Moon, original French title Le Voyage dans la Lune. This silent film featured groundbreaking special effects for its time, including the use of multiple exposures, stop-motion, animation, and elaborate set designs. Méliès employed techniques such as superimposition, where multiple images are combined to create a single composite image, and dissolves, which allowed for smooth transitions between scenes. 1906, Lee De Forest invented the electronic amplifying tube or triode. De Forest's invention of the triode had a profound impact on development of electronic communication and audio technology. The triode tube allowed for the amplification and control of electrical signals, making it possible to amplify weak signals for long-distance transmission and improve the quality of audio reproduction. 1923 television camera tube was invented by Zworykin. The invention of the television camera tube can be attributed to several inventors who made significant contributions to the development of television technology.
Good evening, ma'am. I'm Reyna Sipunsua, and these are significant milestones in the history of technology and media. So, to continue our topic, 1926, first practical sound movie. This refers to the release of The Jazz Singer, which was the first commercially successful motion picture with synchronized sounds. Next, 1939, regularly scheduled television broadcasting began in the U.S. The first regular television broadcasting began in the United States, marking the beginning of a new era in mass communication and entertainment. Next, 1940s, beginnings of information science as a discipline. Information science emerged as a distinct discipline during this period, focusing on the study of information processes, systems, and technologies. Next, 1945, Vannevar Bush foresaw the invention of hypertext. Vannevar Bush, an American engineer and inventor, published an influential article titled As We May Think, in which he predicted the invention of hypertext and envisioned a system called the Memex. Next, in 1946, ENIAC or ENIAC computer was developed. ENIAC, Electronic Numerical Integrator and Computer, was one of the earliest general-purpose electronic computers. It was developed by John W. Monkley and J. Presper Eckert at the University of Pennsylvania. Next, 1948, birth of the field information theory proposed by Claude E. Shannon. Claude E. Shannon, an American mathematician and electrical engineer, published a groundbreaking paper titled A Mathematical Theory of Communication, laying the foundation for the field of information theory. Next, in 1957, planar transistor was developed by Jean Yorny. Jean Yorny, a Swiss physicist, invented the planar transistor, a major advancement in semiconductor technology that allowed for miniaturization and paved the way for integrated circuits. Next, in 1958, first integrated circuit Jack Kilby of Texas Instruments and Robert Noyce of Fairchild Semiconductor independently developed the integrated circuit, which combined multiple electronic components on a single chip, revolutionizing electronics and computing. Next, in 1960s, Library of Congress developed LC-MARC, machine-readable code. The Library of Congress developed the machine-readable cataloging or MARC system, which standardized the representation and exchange of bibliographic records, enabling efficient cataloging and retrieval of library materials. Last, 1969, UNIX operating system was developed, which could handle multitasking. Unix, an operating system originally developed at Bell Labs, introduced key concepts such as multitasking, hierarchically file systems, and shell scripting. It became widely used in academia, research, and later influenced the development of various operating systems. These milestones reflect important advancement in the field of media, technology, and information science, shaping the way we communicate, store and process information, and develop computing systems. That's all. Good evening, ma'am. I'm Reyna Sipunsua, and
1971, Intel introduced the first microprocessor chip. The first microprocessor chip, the Intel 4004, was introduced by the Intel in 1971. It was a 4-bit central processing unit, and it was designed for use in calculator and small electronic devices. The 4004 has clock speed of 740 kHz and it could perform up to 92,000 instructions per second. It was a significant milestone of development of the modern computing technology. 1972, optical laserdisc was developed by Philips and MCA. The laserdisc used a laser to read the video and the audio signal stored in a reflective disc, which allowed for the better picture and sound quality than the other home video format of the time. However, the laserdisc never achieved mass market success, partly due to its high cost and introduction of competing formats like VHS and Betamax. 1974, MCA and Philips agreed on a standard video disc encoding format. CA and Philip did indeed collaborate in the 1970s to develop a standard video disc format known as Laserdisc. However, this format was eventually superseded by other technologies such as DVD and Blu-ray. 1975, Altair Microcomputer Kit was released, first personal computer for the public. The Altair 8800 was sold as kit which user had to assemble themselves, and it was based on Intel 808 processor. The Altair 8800 was not very friendly and it required user to input commands using toggle switch LED lights. 1977, Radio Shack introduced the first complete personal computer. Radio Shack did later sell personal computers under their Tandy brand, such as TRS-80, which were popular in the late 1970s and early 1980s. However, they were not the first to introduce personal computer. 1984 Apple Macintosh computer was introduced. The Apple Macintosh computer was first introduced on January 24, 1984. It was a personal computer that was designed to be more user-friendly than other computers of its time. It was introduced the concept of general user interface with icons and mouse for navigation. Mid-1980s, artificial intelligence was separated from information science.
AI is concerned with development of intelligence machine that can be perform tasks that typically require human intelligence such as perception, reasoning, and decision making. Information science, on the other hand, is concerned with the management, organization, and retrieval of information.
1987, HyperCard was developed by Bill Atkinson receipt box metaphor. HyperCard was first released in 1987 and was designed to allow non-programmers to create their own interactive multimedia application. It was based on stack metaphor, with each stack being set of virtual cards that could certain text, graphics, and interactive elements. 1991, 450 complete works of literature on one CD-ROM was released. This CD-ROM contained 450 works of literature, including novels, essay, poems, and plays that were considered to be one of the some most important and influential works of Western culture. January 1997, RSA encryption and network security software Internet Security Code Crack for a 48-bit number. The RSA encryption algorithm is a widely used cryptographic system that was developed by Ron Rivers, Adi Shamir, and Leonard Adeliman in 1977. It is based on mathematical concept of modular arithmetic and number theory and is widely used to encrypt and describe data in secure communication.